Hello.
Hello?
Oh,
Oh,
Hello.
a lot of hellos at once there, resonance.
Oh, hi.
Something, yeah, we'd like to see here. On
Hello.
Always Strikes Late?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
It
indeed.
is.
Yep.
It is.
That's the show you host, Jack.
You've
Yeah.
questioned your way into that intro, and you landed on both feet, right on the edge,
Mm-hmm.
right on the
Yeah.
precipice.
It
But
was perfect.
Of something
that
great.
precipice is late at night.
It's like a morality parable. Like I wandered in there and I realized that I had the answer all along. I knew where I was going.
Yeah. And you were there. And you were there. And you were there, dear viewer and listener.
And then you punch one random person and don't tell them why.
Mm.
Yeah, that's how you show that no one should mess with you in the podcast.
That's right.
you guys are violent.
Hey, it's Monday. We'll call it a case of the Mondays.
Listen,
Yeah.
you
That's
can't
fair.
have an army of ghosts without some dead people.
That's true.
True. Fitting late night hours on both coasts
Mhm.
for this particular
Indeed.
episode.
Indeed.
As we bring on Matt Kangiser here as our special guest to talk about his victories and his incredible performance in the Sparkle Party with
Hell
a bunch
yeah.
of scary sheets. What I almost got
Mhm.
into them.
Mm-hmm.
Matt took first place, and I want to correct you real quick because it's so much fun to be correcting for Matt's last name because it's Kangiser.
No.
You have to say it each
That-
time like you're
God.
you're about to do
Easy.
something really dumb and play, be the
Ugh.
smartest mutant in the Star Trek.
Mhm.
Jack got it way more right than
or-
most people, though. Let's be fair.
That is
Okay,
true. That is
okay.
true. But I
feel
will never
like
not
it's a
take an
talent.
opportunity to do that. So
Usually it's like Kang Singer or Kangalinger. Who knows?
Hang a lang.
Kang-a-lang.
I'm going to take that as a real feather in my cap then.
Lithuanians would be proud of you worldwide there.
I too have a Lithuanian last name.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, in that
So-
case, you should know
secret
better than
sauce.
Jack.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, what's
Well, that's
going
why
on
you got close.
Yeah. Mine was all changed up. I had like a Ellis Island great grandfather who
Oh, sure.
Greekified us from Bun Palladius or something to Palladius, but here we go.
Mm.
Okay. I feel it. I see it.
Little learning time with Jack.
Yeah.
History
The more
with
you
Jack.
know. The more you know.
As you can see, even with just Matt Davis in here, though, there's so many Matts around that I just have everyone call me Kangi because someone says Matt in a room around our area and 5 people look. So
Yeah.
Very
It is a
fair.
curse. Which a little bit of history / trivia. I
Mhm.
actually went by Bob for a couple of years because I was in a band with another Matt, and the Matt was in there longer, so he had
Okay.
seniority.
Yeah. That'd do it.
That's
That'd do it.
amazing. So you were exiled to the island of Bob.
Yeah.
Period.
it's better than being like Little Matt or something if you're the second Matt around, right?
That's true,
Just change the
Yeah.
name.
Especially if
Junior
it's
Matt.
not ironic either, and you actually are on the shorter end of it. You're just like, eh.
Yeah.
Like I was Little Rock for when I played football because I was a massive 300 pounds of muscle lineman. It was funny. And then you get, oh, hey, little Matt, how you doing? Oh, you're so cute. Oh, did you come?
Oh, little Matty. So, anyways, we're on
Anyway.
this show about Age of Sigmar,
Wait,
and
really?
yeah, I think so.
Way to ground it. Way to get it grounded here.
Yeah.
I'm just here to
Chicks.
talk about pregame rituals. What the heck?
We do
Checks-
like to wind our way back to the path eventually, but Rocco, pregame rituals, yes. This is
Checks
the most important
notes.
thing.
Checks notes, which we forgot to do the last episode. So
That's
you know,
because
pour
I
one
fell
out for
asleep.
Rocco's broken dreams.
It was
Mhm.
horrible. Yeah, no, I was the strikes late. My dog got sick. Fixed the dog up. I'm like, cool, man, we're great. Forgot I had other stuff to do. Went right to bed. I feel bad. So I'm here, people. For you. I do this for you, chat and dear listener. And remember to also like, subscribe. We've got a merch store. There's Patreon. We got all kinds of stuff. We got to record a commercial again for Matt Davidson too.
Yeah, we had a nice try run, but none of us know the formatting. Well, at least I
Yes,
didn't know the formatting.
it goes from vertical to they didn't turn their
Yeah.
phone 90 degrees. That was the
And-
problem.
And
that
I've
we
got a cool
found.
recording setup,
So-
but my audio died after I transferred
It
it.
just Solid gold, but 90 degrees in the wrong direction.
Oh no, it's a little leaning to the left there, huh? You
Mhm.
got to reorient.
But
It's
we
the way she
digress.
goes. It's the
We
way she
digress.
goes.
We're here for tangents, right? No, this is a tournament recap. We
Yes.
have an
Right.
amazing Nighthaunt player, been around for a while, Mr. Matt. What did you bring to this? What was your list at Sparkle Party?
Well, I brought the dirty. I brought Nighthaunt.
Good.
I have the Drowner in my general's regiment with
Okay.
20 Blade Geists. And I do that mostly because priority target at the time doesn't really do much for Harridans because they already get +1/+1 if they fight a damaged unit. So
Yep.
the Blade Geists make a good target for the +1/+1 because of that.
It's worth noting before we go any further on the description that Sparkle Party, the rules cutoff happened right before the right before the FAQ errata and everything. So we were using the older ruls.
He got that good filth.
Yeah,
Yep.
that real greasy good stuff, right? So
yeah, it was. I mean, as the only Nighthaunt player, it was definitely. I won't say my event to lose, but there was. I mean, there was a lot of good players there, so
nice.
It wasn't a gimme just because I was the only Nighthaunt guy. You had 6 or 7 guys there who, a 5-0 is just any other weekend. So it still felt good, even though I was the only one bringing the juice taunt.
Now there's also something to be said though, right? Like because every one of those 5-0 players has been practicing into Nighthaunt for the whole time, anyways. So it's not like you were going up there with like, they weren't coming at you with one hand tied behind their back. Each of them
wasn't a surprise.
Yeah, they
this
had already.
Was not a cool offbeat medalist. This is not work on pork.
No. This is top. We need to know how to beat this, right? Because Pacific Northwest, all killers,
come prepared,
all killers.
They'll all kill you with kindness and their skills. So
indeed.
Were you repping a gaming club too, Matt?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who you roll with?
Victoria's Secret. Right now we're small, mostly just local. But we're going to try to get onto the travel scene, I think, here, right, Matt?
Yes, sir.
I think that's the next step for us. But
I'm in that Discord too.
It's
a good time. Yeah, Jack Ballard got me in.
Yeah, I too am a member.
Rocco just Spider-Man in the corner of every wall of every Discord.
I'm sorry.
I networked into everything.
Rocco just appeared in 50 Discords at once one day and slowly made his way to reality through the cracks.
It's a beautiful thing.
I was doing this to set up your gaming club, not pat my own back. But
he Dr. Manhattan his way into existence from the Discords and the YouTubes. We know.
I was there.
Yeah.
Don't speak the old magic to me, witch. I was there when it was created.
I mean, locally here, it's kind of, before I started, it was just kind of Victoria's Secret and Dimensional Cascade, and kind of grew the area. Then the pandemic happened, and DC just exploded with great players, and the club got huge. So
good,
which has been great for our scene because now they're running 2 big GTs, and you gotta love it. You gotta love it.
And your club days are like, honest to God, great practice too.
Yeah,
with just top players coming in with filth, and it's like, cool. Help me find a weakness. Help me work new strategies. Let me, you get good planning. Just to even get in, you still got to play. And I think did they change it from beat 2 of the guys, or you got to play 2 of the guys to get into the club?
Yeah,
there's honestly something just great about that. Just, not to tangent again, but that's what we do at Always Strikes Late. Just knowing that you're going to have your random Monday or Friday or Wednesday or whatever night it is pickup game with a club with a friend. And know that it will be a growth game, no matter what you do, because you can't just take anything for granted. That doesn't always happen, right? Yeah, that's really awesome. So
that's the environment we're coming out of here. You've been in the hyperbolic time chamber. You've been practicing. Everyone's been practicing. They know what Nighthaunt do. You are there staring down the field, and you have Arlok the Drowner, 20 Blade Geist Revenants in that General's Regiment. What else you got?
Yeah, my next regiment is Reichner, who I think he's been close to an auto include. I mean, I think you see Lady Olander sometimes or often, and maybe Reichner doesn't get taken then, but Reichner's just so good because he's got the candle, which gives him a +1 to cast. He can do 2 casts or 1. And then outside of that, he just has the speed and the option to give that Meg 1 save or fight last from the Nighthaunt. So he's just an ideal hero because of either the casting and then the speed to give whichever debuff he wants. And he doesn't hit too shabby either. So Reichner's kind of my staple hero. Drowner, obviously, because of the redeployment, just frees up so much option because of like Huracan Temple and needing to get to foxes when you can. But
also he boops his opponents with the pedal, just
with the ore.
Boopy bonk.
So those are my 2 favorite heroes. And then with Reichner, I'm taking 2 blocks of 20 Harridans.
Very nice.
Who I love. I mean, you kind of have 3 ways to go for your hammer with Nighthaunt, either Hexwraiths, Harridans, or Blade Geists. And personally, my favorite is the Harridans, just because that -1 to wound on the charge, and just anything they get into is -1 to charge. It doesn't have to be targeting them; they just have to be tagged into it, and the unit's -1 to wound. It's just so good, in my opinion. The key to them is figuring out how you're going to wound the enemy so they get that +1/+1. So I got a lot of points dropped into them. I had 2 blocks of 20 of them, and then I have a unit of 10 Craven Throne Guard, the archers, also with Reichner. And their role is just to kind of get that one kind of ping wound on something to buff the Harridans. You know, they're only 100 points. They're running around kind of either getting on objective, holding a back objective, scoring a tactic, or getting that key 1 wound on something so the Harridans are buffed, right?
Just so they get the 3 up, not 4 up, 4 up.
Yeah.
When there's that blood.
Get that blood in the water.
The other key way to get that damage right is the Hexwraith's impact damage on the charge. So
you still need to charge. They got to not redeploy from you. You can just shoot them and be done.
Yep, exactly. Oh, I guess those 3 units, I'm sorry guys, those 3 units are with my Cruciator. The units I took with Reichner are 3 units of 5 Hexwraiths, speaking of Hexwraiths. So
there's more to this list. Okay.
Yeah, so I got Drowner, Blade Geist, Reichner, 3 Hexwraiths. Again, Hexwraiths are so good because they give the -1 save, which is like the greatest debuff, right? And then speed of 12 inches. The only downside of Hexwraiths is the output isn't as amazing as Harridans or Blade Geists, but given their speed and that -1 save, they're such a critical role.
Nice.
And then my final regiment, like I said, is 2 Harridans in the guard, but it's with the Cruciator. And the Cruciator is probably the one dude that you're not seeing a ton of people take. I've seen him pop up more recently. But at that 100
these days.
I was just gonna say, at that 150 point hero slot, you're seeing the Executioner a lot more often, and the Executioner is amazing because he gives -1 attacks and he hits hard. But the key reason I like the Cruciator is again, he can get that little shooting damage that I need for the Harridans. So there's that, and then also when Reichner's using his candle in the hero phase, I mean, you're only having 7 wound heroes, and your heroes are so critical that just ignoring that 1 wound each turn so that Reichner's fully casting is awesome. And then if you get into Croak or Teclis or anything, or Nagash, which I did at Sparkle, he can really start ignoring some significant damage. So he ignores the first damage in any round for units wholly 12. And so, I mean, if you're ignoring, let's say you're ignoring 10 wounds in the course of a game, he's like paying for himself already there.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. All those kind of AoE chip damages and D3.
And also, he's got one of the cooler models too.
He really got. It
He's
really is.
awesome.
It's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, he's got that little thing he's holding in front and then the cross on the back. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's pretty
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
And you want like one non-unique hero because the items are so good for Nighthaunt. So
Mhm.
when I'm already taking Drowner and Reichner, and it's such a unit heavy game instead of Hero Hammer nowadays, at least in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Which I like.
A cheap
I don't.
third non-unique hero is a good fit, which Crusader is only 150. You need something to take items because they have such good items. They have item to bring back half a unit for a CP, and
Which
then
is
they have an
great.
item to give everything holy 12 extra attacks
Mhm.
if he's in
Yeah.
combat. So
Yeah.
Okay. I'm seeing the math here.
yeah, especially when you're like and that's kind of what Nighthaunt does is they're able to just swarm their target, right? Still get
Yeah.
full score, swarm
Yeah.
their target with debuffs, and then once per game you're given all that +1 attack. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
you want at least one non-unique cheap hero to do that with items. And like I said, often Executioner is the choice, but I'm seeing Cruciator taken more and more, and I'm a pretty big fan just because Ragnar's only 7 wounds, so one a turn to him is diminishing, and then everything else is bonus.
That makes
Okay.
sense. Yeah, a little bit to preserve them, and it's definitely a sweet model.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, and it makes for a good castle start for the army too,
So
right? If you absolutely need to.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, the ethereal saving is so good, and then you do the ward, right? And
Yeah.
then after the ward, you get to ignore 1 damage. So it's like I've just played against the Cruciator and been frustrated by that. So I was like, no, I'm gonna be the one doing it now. I'm gonna start bringing him. So
I shall be the mean man.
I turn to be the villain.
So this sets the stage. So this is the army you're bringing,
Yeah.
yeah,
and I have
Filth.
to imagine, setting that tone. You're showing up to this absolute foreboding castle, probably somewhere in those misty woods, whatever passes for like normal terrain, normal forums in the western part of the land.
Yes, the parking
Northwestern part
lots
of the
of
land.
Ballard.
Exactly. So
it's basically a rainforest. Yeah.
So yeah, the keep of Ballard in the rainforest, clearly populated by tournament champions of the Murderer's Row, only accentuated by the recent
And hangers on.
victory of the Pacific Northwest for the AOS Masters this last weekend. So we know
Yeah.
that no one is a slouch.
No.
And
They're bringing the heat.
you're bringing the heat, and you're showing up to this, Matt. And Rocco didn't quite get to asking, so I'm going to steal his thunder.
I didn't yet.
You didn't yet. Can I
You
ask
can.
Matt Rocco?
You may.
At the Rocco? Okay.
Ooh.
It is a dark ritual you must have enacted before all your games to like get ready. What is your pregame ritual? What is your pregame dark ritual?
What do you got, man? It is.
Honestly, it's a nightcap or like a beer and a half the night before, just so I make sure I get sleep because I never sleep before events very well.
Okay.
I don't know why. I just get jazzed up and excited to play. So usually I'll try to paint something or do something and something relaxing, drink a beer or two, just so I make sure I have enough to nod off and get 8 hours of sleep. That's the biggest thing for me because I swear, like I went to LVO one year and I slept maybe 2 hours the first night and none the night before. Now there was a lot more activity going on than a normal event, grant you, but that's just miserable, man. I can't play without sleep. So that is my pregame ritual.
All right.
Very fair. Well, awesome. So bring
it's like
us
a
into
pre-game ritual. That's like a full night before. Normally the ritual is like right before you get there or right when you get there.
Yeah, it's shaky hands. You steal your espresso.
Kangi's like, you know what? I'm gonna warm up this. Yeah.
The day before is stopping at the gas station for some granola bars and a Rockstar, and and then there was supposed to be this huge monster traffic jam in Seattle that day. So I left like an extra hour in advance and showed up an hour early. So and that was kind of annoying, but it was better than sitting in traffic, right?
True. Yeah. Very true.
It was
This
a
is
ghost
a
town
very-
in Seattle too. Getting up there, that was the
Oh.
most hilarious thing.
I think
But,
people just saw it and then just ignored the roads. So then the roads were fine. Is kind of my theory, but
You love to see
makes
it.
sense to me.
Matt, I
Okay.
hope you intended that because it was a ghost town that day.
Oh, hey, they just you know,
yeah, CJ
that
from
just fell out.
my birthday was like 2 days before the weekend, and CJ
Uh-huh.
from our group made the joke that I'm 1 year closer to being a Nighthaunt. So
Ooh, what a friend.
yeah, it was
Yep.
a little existential joke there, but a little
That,
rude.
that's too perfect. And the fun that eve of your birthday, you were 3 sheets to the wind. You were going to bring a lot more at the tournament.
We're getting them in, chat. Watch out.
That's right.
These guys know my dad joke game is on point.
I know.
Jeez. All right,
So,
folks. Oh, Matt. Oh, you do. Yeah.
So we showed up. You know,
Uh-huh.
everybody piled in. Everybody said hi. Who'd
Yeah.
you roll into? Oh, and there was one extra thing that
Ooh.
was announced right before we
Ooh.
started at
Ooh.
Sparkle Party, and I think you were the only one to get it. So we'll have to the extra prize of torture that you actually got with the archers. But I think Beasley announced that anybody who beat a Worlds player, am I correct in that? Or not Worlds, the
Whoever
Masters?
beat the most PNW Masters team players
Okay.
got a special prize at the end, and I ended up having to play through 3 of them, so that was fun. Yeah.
Yep. So this is the
stage is set.
The stage is finally set.
Ugh.
Walk us through your first game. How'd it go? Who'd you take down? What was your were there any triumphs, or was it
All tribulations?
I'm yeah.
Yeah,
Did
so
you-
I'm
I'm trying to think of a ghost joke, but I can't get it out. It's dead on arrival.
Oh, nice.
Well, the Seraphon became extinct in round 1, or they had another extinction event because I played.
Oh, man.
Let's go.
Yeah, I played Seraphon. Nick Williams, I don't know if you know him, Matt. He's the guy with the beautiful paint work on his models.
He played mostly the Agrodons, right?
Yep. He had
I went into him on last round.
He had one reinforced pack and then 2 3-pack or 2 min units of Agrodons. So a lot of Lancers. And then he had Saurus Scarvet on Carnosaur with the Blood Rage Pendant and the Beastmaster enhancements. And then he had, in his other regiment, he had reinforced Croxagore, Slan, and then he had one of each of the Hunters of Huanchi. He had 1 Dart Pipes and 1 Bolas. And I love the Bolas. I think they're a fantastic unit just because you can ping something, you can ping the scariest hammer on the opponent's turn and just give them that 1 dice roll charge. It's so, I mean, and then they come out and score somewhere out of reserve. Yeah, I think that's such a fantastic unit for 90 points.
That is sounding like a pretty strong list here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wait, how many jobs were you?
I was 3. So I have the Drowner Regiment, I have the Reichner Regiment, and then I have the Crusader Regiment. It's just a throwback. That's another reason why a lot of people like the Executioner, is because he can be in a regiment and keep you at a 2-drop. So he's very excellent for that reason as well.
Also, another really cool model, both of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've always loved Nighthaunt. I mean, they get all tangly and spindly when you're trying to actually play fast with them, so that's a little annoying. And their skinny little swords can break on you. But
oh my god!
They're the entire army that is 1 step away from just like spontaneously like falling apart, or snapping.
Those Harridans are a barrel of monkeys.
Yeah.
And it's his wife loves them, and she
100% true.
And more power to her. She kicks ass with them, but that is just such a bitch. to deploy, even when you're just going.
They just got their little arms that are like.
It's like
Right up there with a big Yoda
Okay.
Sisters of Slaughter, right? The same sort of deal.
Oh yeah, those
Oh, yeah.
whips. Oh,
those
man.
whips getting tangled and twisted into each other. And it's just... All
See, they've
right.
got the
Oh,
tangleability, but they've also got the breakability of the Lumineth.
Because
Was it
elves are all with
Is it the
the
wardens with
snapping.
the big
Yeah, the
pokey stick?
pikes.
Yep, the
Yeah.
pikes.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
They've got both down, which is so lovely. Oh, so
Yeah.
great.
Okay, but we digress. The field of battle.
Focus up, gentlemen.
Sad. Yeah.
Yep. So we
Tell me about this
sent
extinction event.
Yeah,
we sent the Saurus past the Stone Age, right?
So Nick took the first turn, and I think he was trying to clog up the center, with those high wound Croxagores.
Sure.
Get his points, and I think unfortunately for him, like Nighthaunt is just so good at a high volume of low run attacks. So you have so many run one, and all those run one attacks are so good into a 4-up save, right? So all I really, when I'm looking at a unit on the board and I'm wondering if I can lift it or not, it's got to have a 3-pup slave, because then I'm wondering about all that defense. But like with Seraphon, I think it's just a tough matchup for them, because all their hammers, the Lancers, the Croxagore, being a 4-up save means the best they're going to be against me is a 4-up, right? And and with my volume of attacks with Blade Geist or Herodins, it's just a rough day. So I charged in basically almost everything he got his Agrodons into me early, which is good. In his turn one, he was able to get a good charge. He was able to charge into my left flank. But I mean, the key reason Nighthaunt's so good, it's not just Deathstalkers with the retreat and charge. It's just you can charge when you're in combat too. So it's like you can't pin them in like you can other armies. Like,
you didn't even bring the teleporting horses, right?
No,
the Harrows?
No, I didn't bring them. No,
I was gonna say.
Yeah, they definitely are marquee in a lot of lists, but I just felt with the speed of everything on the run and charge, the hex race already having 12-inch charge,
and all rack in there too for extra teleportation.
Yeah, have the Drowner to teleport. That I guess for me, like I just look at those teleporting horses as 160 points for such a low wound count. I know how good they are with the redeployment, but I just felt like I had the speed to cover it already.
This sounds like this list will be good even with points change. It's just a little shuffling, and you're already there, dude. Okay.
Yeah. I have some ideas. Yeah.
We'll get there.
Okay. Yeah.
So he got those Lancers into my Herodins. But again, I can't be pinned in because I can just charge when I'm in combat, and which means I get all my Nighthaunt buffs, right? I can still make him -1 to hit with anything, basically, or the Blade Geist or the Herodins. I can make a -1 to wound with the Herodins. I can make him -1 save with the Hex Race. I can make him fight last with the hero. So even though he had against a normal army, that'd be great. His cav pinned in my hammer.
He did the right thing.
He did the right thing, but
every other scenario,
Nighthaunt's not playing the same game. So
cool.
I was able to kind of focus half my army into the Lancers that charged me, and then put the other half into the Croxagores. Give the Crocs fight last, so that I had activation priority into the Lancers, mess them up pretty good, and then still go before the Croxagores over here.
And it was a very low model count list, especially for Seraphon too. So that really worked in your favor as well.
And also the Cruel Gas Cruciator, again, if they're doing the Comet's Call spell now, that's just in the lore, not on the scroll. That's just, you're negating the casting. You don't care. You don't have unbinds to go against it. You're just there.
Yeah, that came in key against Nagash in my round 4 too, especially.
Ooh, okay.
But the other thing I was going to say about Seraphon being rough into, and a lot of units being rough into Nighthaunt, is like a lot of the units out there are lower quantity of high rend, high damage attacks, but Nighthaunt just doesn't care about the rend. So like it's funny because like what I'm afraid of is like the mounts or the little goblins or the little gits, you know, the stuff with no rend, high volume of attacks, because you know, I just ignore the
40
crux
clan
rend. Yeah, that I mean, it was funny, like I was fighting Cavalos Lancers and I got through the Lancer text. I'm like, oh no, he still has his horses to do. They're just as dangerous to me.
That's really funny, just the way that kind of forces your thinking that way. Like
yeah, and it's so frustrating for the opponent too, because he can throw this hammer at you with this great rend and just you know, 4-up is so swingy. I could miss all of them or I could save all of them, and with the rend not a factor, it's just like it's rough for some armies. So not only is Seraphon working with that 4-up save against my volume of low rend attacks, but they're also working with that run that they don't get against me for their hammers.
Like so frustrating. Like being a Slaves of Darkness player right now, I know how it feels when you have a lot invested in some big killy stuff, and it means nothing against the ghosties, which is also why I'm somewhat allergic to Varangard in principle right now.
Hey man, that's why I'm all bodies, not gotties.
Yep, bodies, not gotties. Gonna be in a shirt someday. Check out the merch store and buy it for your friends.
I know. I'm slowly making it.
We're waiting on our designer who's working on stuff.
All right, so resounding victory round one. Keeping this on.
Yeah, it felt pretty good after the first turn. You know, just being able to really handicap his Lancers and his Croc score that early. By turn 3, I was into his Slan. And so it was a like you guys said, he played everything right, and I think against a normal army, pinning something in with his Lancers would have been great, but Nighthaunt just has the tools to avoid that.
Yeah.
Which is great. That's great. All right. So what's the battle plan for that again? Do you remember?
Let me see if I can pull it up on the overview here.
We were both there, and I can't remember it. Nick, however,
was the better part of Valor.
Nick was a great opponent, by the way. Super nice guy.
Great painter.
A lot of fun in our game.
Well, this just sounds like a real fun game, though. You know.
Yeah.
He helped me get through all of the trauma that Matt has inflicted on me over months and months of playing. So, we had technically finished our game, and I was like, "You got to let me charge that monolith. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna kill that fucker and the Slan. It's gotta happen."
Back in the glory days of Seraphon, me and Matt played weekly almost, and he hasn't come over to kill me yet, so I'm glad those games are over. But
the Slan bunkers hiding behind the thing, just summoning in the stuff. I recall those.
And then they summon in the Source Guard after you kill them all, because they're like, it's just another million.
Oh, and then the fucker teleports.
Yeah,
he's like
teleporting, summoning. Oh, but it was so fun, guys. It was so fun.
Well, there was fun to be had, right? It was like a really tough nut with like a sweet, meaty Slan center, and if like you just somehow got in there,
get that frog, baby. It was this piggy. I'm gonna go get that frog.
It was a hell of a feeling.
It didn't feel as dirty as like
nougat of joy.
It didn't feel as dirty as back in the heyday of the salamanders, though, either.
Yeah, those were bad.
Dude.
Those were real bad.
I remember.
Was it the Razordons or the Pterodons? Because one of those were
that
bad
too
for a little while.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, I loved my 6-pack of teleporting salamanders. I miss those. Now they're just sitting on my obsolete shelf now.
So they're waiting for their age to come again. The wheel will turn.
It will. It does in this game. So turning on to round 2 here.
Yep.
You know, you shocked and awed. What you run into round 2?
I ran into Stormcast twice in a row. So the first one, the first one was Vanguard Wing. This is our buddy Cloyd from our group. I got paired into my club round 2. So he brought Ionis. He brought a unit of in his regiment. He had a unit of Vanguard Hunters. He had a reinforced unit of Pellador with shock hand axes.
Okay.
He had a reinforced long strike crossbow.
Never leave home without him.
Yep. And then in his regiment 2, he had the Knight Arcanum with the Mirror Shield and the Envoy of the Heavens.
Okay.
He had a unit of Gryph-hounds, and then he had a reinforced Vanquisher unit. Oh, and then he had Callus and Toll.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, every order army that should be an auto include almost.
Oh gosh,
they do seem to make it in.
I can't believe they didn't touch them on the battle scroll. They're just so good.
Hey, sell the models while you can, I guess, right?
Well,
Really
it is such a scheme.
really
Like
cool.
all of those little cool, like warbandy units are just so
Right.
good. If they have a novel written about them and they're kind of scrappy humans, they're just always powerful. And
Yeah.
it's so expensive. Like I have like the Gunner Brand group. They're $80 to get those guys.
Ooh,
you know, for
yeah.
5
Oh, no.
models.
Yeah.
Now they're amazing. I still stand by that, and that will, I think, prove out in time. But the no Callus and Toll, and what does it cost to get Callus and Toll? Like 2 guys.
I think it's like 60.
Yeah. I think it's as
With
soon
2
as
guys in a unit. So
as soon as I saw the Skaven book, I was like, okay, two regiments of renown, 2 armies of renown. I can see how I can see G-Dub's marketing
Gears
plan here.
Yeah.
It is not a bad plan. As
No.
on me.
I mean, that's how I became such a plastic addict, is because I'd buy an ally and be like, oh, I almost have a Beast of Chaos army now. I might as well finish them. You know.
Yeah.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
That's why I have weird amounts of Skaven in my basement
right now. Game 2 was really good. I mean, Cloyd played very well. And
what was the battle plan here?
Let's pull that one up.
Well, he's
not
doing
to derail, but you know,
Cloyd
our
is
listeners
an
want to know.
immaculate. Cloyd is an immaculate player, dude.
He doesn't make many mistakes at all.
Yeah.
If he listens to this and gets mad at me, I'll just say it. But he might get frustrated sometimes and then play a little more aggressive than usual. But if he keeps his head, he's like a top play. He'll be a 5-0 player soon. He's great.
Yeah.
But if you're listening to this,
tilted.
If you're listening to this and you take offense to that, please subscribe to the Patreon.
Yeah. Do it out of spite. Do it out of spite. I'll give you a I beat Matt button just right away.
Yeah, we take spite Patreons too.
Yeah.
So
and you may learn a Michigan fact. You don't know.
Yeah.
So round 2 was probably the most difficult map for me, not for Nighthaunt specifically, but for me as a player, just because it's limited resources. So I feel like it's the most likely one. I'm going to do something stupid, and I did feel like I was draining a little too fast. I was starting to get worried there, and
siphoned all the meltwater.
I think
come on, dude, take it from me. You know you wanna take it from me. Interrupt it. No, you.
It's rough because you're like trying to do this calculation in your head after round 2 or so to see what kind of points you can score the last 3, given what you've drained so far, and it's just like, oh my god, I don't have the brain power to play a good opponent and
you just gotta table the other person so they can score. That's it. I burn all my home objectives and you run out of models. That's how we win.
Secret technique: if you kill them all, they can't take your meltwater.
It's true. It's true.
Sigmar,
oh man, I need to start trying that. Yeah. So it was limited resources. Cloyd's a great player. I would honestly say, other than my round 5, just because Soul Blight, I think Cloyd was my toughest match in round 2.
He's got good movement in that list too.
Yeah, he's got the teleport. He's got the teleport from
everything in that list. He somehow manages to fit every different piece of tech in that one list, and it's just like, you have an answer for that. Oh yeah, you have an answer for this.
Vanquishes are good in the hordes.
He runs the most unique lists too. Like he'll just have weird janky stuff. Like he used to bring Gotrek a lot. He'll bring Neve, he'll bring Talus, like back when you could, right? Now you're limited to one regiment, but but it's fun. I mean, it was a fun game for sure. I think the one thing that he could have done to probably beat me is bring his long strikes into play sooner. He waited till round 3 to get anything out of them because he said he was really holding them off to pick off a hero, and I didn't leave him an opening. But I feel like I feel with like a unit that powerful, you really want some dividends early. Otherwise, I mean,
yeah, were they in the table or to keep them in the sky?
he kept him in the sky till round 3, which was perplexing to me because you can get that. Shooting an opponent turn twice around. That's a lot of bodies that you could be taking off the board. And he was kind of weighing that against waiting for an opportune target. And I'm like, I don't know if I would have done that, man. So
I mean, like the moment he brings him down, because you can just retreat, run, and charge, like he's dead. That unit is gone the next turn, right? No matter what.
Yeah.
So I can see the.
Yeah, he's got to keep him safe for sure. Yeah.
I've done that before too. It's. Go, Matt, go.
What probably cost him the game was that my curse came along with my Paladors that I lent him.
Oh no.
So yeah, so he probably got a little bit of my curse that came into that game. So they probably failed a charge, like within 3 inches or something like that,
Yeah, we talk about pre-game rituals. Matt needs to do some of those like incense sticks or whatever. With his dice. He needs to like put his dice in some incense.
I'll tell you what, for the longest time I was having some weird dice rolls, and I went back to my original dice set because I had a bit of a dice goblin. Not that bad, but for like different armies, different things. Like having unique dice and shit for
keep the theme, right?
But I went back to my just chess X from Amazon from like 6 years ago, broke them out, and then all of a sudden life was good again. And you know what? Sometimes you just gotta go back to basics.
See, I just play with the same purple death dice because they have they have my Raven's purple on them. Yeah. And so like no matter what I'm playing, that's probably gonna fit into my army somehow.
Okay.
But I did actually break out not new dice, but a different set of dice on this tournament because like the first game was just like every roll. I think I told you guys about the amount of blood sisters that I have in that list that I took.
Yeah.
And like first 2 turns, I think I got maybe 4 mortals, 5 mortals, not 5 mortals, 6 mortals out of them with like the full army attacking. So yeah. I mean, I even was giving out our little always strikes last dice at that tournament, giving one to each opponent.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I was like, don't let me touch this after I've given it to
you. Best dice they own now, for one. Absolute best dice. Immaculate if you haven't seen one of the wild. You just seek one out. Yeah. 2, you're right. If Matt touches it twice, the curse spreads. It's like the grudge, but it's just like minor bad luck.
Well, it's really and Alex and I figured this out. It's I give just a little bit of what luck I have left into that dice, and if I touch it, I immediately absorb that essence back in. Right? Yeah.
That's why I don't touch my opponent's dice. I don't touch them.
Don't let me touch it. Don't throw it at my hand. Don't let it touch my models. It'll get that Matt stink on it. Don't do it.
All right. So back to unstinky Matt. So again, we're fighting for the meltwater. We're having a good time. Bodies, not goddies. So what's the push and pull of this game then? So
yeah, he kept his Raptors in reserve probably too long for his own good, I think. And then the other thing was limited resources has 6 objectives, right?
Yeah.
Two diagonal rows. Yeah. And he put Callus and Toll down in the far right objective to just kind of hold them, I guess, from my redeploys from the Drowner maybe.
Sure.
But I just stayed away from them because I know I'm not going to hurt them. So that was basically 230 points of his army. Yep. I just kept out of the game because I just avoided them. He had 340 points that he just left in reserve the whole game. So he was really playing down
600.
500 and 70, almost 600 points from not using his Raptors and from putting Callus and Toll way back.
Yeah,
Wow.
especially against an army that you have to overcommit each time you go into them, right?
Yeah.
The one unit that scared the crap out of me though was his reinforced vanquishers, because
Oh, definitely.
those are so good into infantry. I mean,
Yeah.
Yep.
he got, I was trying to avoid them too, but at a certain point you can't avoid everything. So he got his
Yeah.
vanquishers into my Harridans, I believe, and when they're into infantry, I mean, just
Nom nom
even
nom
though
nom
the
nom.
Ren,
Evaporated.
even though the Ren doesn't matter, it's still 20 attacks with 2 damage, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah.
was able to mop up a lot of those guys, and
Okay.
even down all those points, Cloyd is good enough at movement and scoring points that he kept it close. It was my most nervous game of the event, I think, besides possibly against Soulblight at the end.
Okay.
But yeah,
It was a good game then.
yeah, it was great. It was very good.
You love to hear it. All
Nice,
right.
very nice.
We're going into because this was a 5-round event, right?
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
All right, none of this 8 games craziness that everyone else is freaking
Oh
out about.
man, how do they do
So
it, right?
I don't know. I played the narrative because I can't. I watched and I laughed a little bit because they were going nuts. I'm like, cool, man. I got a big ass 20
Dude,
foot long siege. Yeah.
I often have good first 4 games. By the 5th game of a
Yeah.
weekend, I'm so toast mentally that
Dude,
it's
by
like
the 3rd game on the first day, I'm like, listen, I need a beer. I need to eat
Mm-hmm.
food. I'm shaking a little bit. I need caffeine. I don't know what I'm doing.
That's very
How did
fair.
this game 3?
yeah.
What did
So
you
game 3 was
Stormcast again?
it was against Stormcast. This was against Jeremy Lemoy, who's on the Pacific
Yeah.
Northwest team.
So your first Pacific Northwest Master, the first of
Yeah,
3 Masters that you faced.
round
Uh-huh.
3,
Right.
4, and 5 are going to be against those folks.
Ugh.
To be
I
the
mean, good
Lightning
for you,
Master.
but ugh.
Yep.
And he again ran Stormcast Vanguard Wing, so same sub.
Uh-huh. Similar
Um,
enough list.
he ran the Incarnate,
Okay.
Kronspine with Krondus.
Oh yeah, wait a minute. What end of spells did you take?
I took Morbid.
You did Morbid? Okay.
Yeah, which is interesting going into the change after the battle scroll. I'm really thinking about Primal Energy, but I guess we're gonna
Yeah.
maybe talk about that a little bit more after this.
Oh, we
Right?
will. We'll get there. We'll
Indeed.
get there.
He brought Krondus, and then he
Okay.
brought Praetors to keep him safe.
Yeah.
And then he brought again another block of Paladors with shock hand axes reinforced, and
All my
long
babies.
strike crossbows reinforced. So
Yep.
that was pretty familiar, those 2 units. And then Lord Relictor
Okay.
in the other regiment with the Mirror Shield, Envoy of
Gotta
Heavens.
teleport. Gotta have the teleport
And then
spell.
he had Griff Hounds. He had the Prosecutor thread out of reserve.
Oh, that's
Um,
nice.
And then he had the Vigilers.
I have a question here as a Stormcast player from way back now. How are you going against the Griffhounds, where it's not that they just shoot anymore, but their warning cries just the mortal wounds? Is that feeling impactful for you playing against it? Is it something you're keeping in mind?
The Griffhounds.
Yeah. Or are they
They're
just
solid.
getting an objective and just screwing
Yeah,
off?
the
Really?
Griffhounds are. I mean, for 80 points, you're getting what, like 16 wounds,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and
So
you're
they're
getting
6-up
full.
save now too.
Yeah, 60. Yeah, but with
They
their
didn't have the
move,
save before.
their movement and their screen
Yeah.
ability, and then they have 4 attacks each, which I think which isn't slouchy at all. So just like
Yeah.
for 80 points, it's pretty good bargain just as a screen.
Yeah.
They're good.
Sure.
Yeah, in a pinch, they're a great screen. I'm glad they
Uh,
finally came to their senses and knocked them off of 160 points like they used to be, which is
I know.
they're great for just like if you want to get take the flanks or whatever that one's called, where you grab the side, get 6
Mhm.
inches of the sides.
Yeah.
So they're great for that, or seize the center. They can easily get to the center for that tactic.
And you don't care if they die because they're screening anyway. That's
Yep.
the
Yeah,
job.
Makes perfect sense with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
a great unit.
So I think as far as having a bad play experience for an opponent going against Nighthaunt, this was the one, just because turn 1 I made all my charges.
Oh,
And,
no.
What was the battle plan here?
Sorry, guys.
Hold for talent.
Not a worry. Not a worry.
So round
Yeah,
three
man.
was
Let's vamp, Jack.
round
Vamp,
three
all
was
right.
Border War.
Ooh,
Oh,
Border
okay.
War. So this is the
nice.
one
You're
where
right on top of each other, fighting the long way across the board there.
so this is one where the back
Yeah.
objective's worth 4, right? And then your home
Yeah.
objective's worth 1.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the sides are
So
2. Yeah.
Great
what I
mission
would
for you guys. Yeah.
so
God.
Jeremy deployed really far back because he knew about the Drowner coming out. I mean, he knows exactly what my army does. He deployed pretty much as far back as he could reasonably.
Yeah.
But again, like everything running and charging.
Did he give you first turn?
He did, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I
feel like you can't do that.
Well, yeah, possibly, but I did get lucky on the charges. I think, other than the unit I auto ran, and the one from the Drowner, the other ones needed like an average of like 8-ish, and they just all made their charges.
Just hit them all of a
I
sudden you swept it. Oh.
I just pinned him in and essentially had his whole home objective because he was kind of in the corner to be even further away from me. So we just had like 5 dudes on that objective that's worth 4 a turn.
Yeah.
Right. And because I was able to get all those charges, I just had so many bodies on that objective worth 4 per turn, like just starting the game, and they were just there the rest of the game scoring 4 points.
Yeah.
So that was just the book winning that one, honestly, because he just got pinned in turn one.
That mission is really good for that style of army, right? If you've got an indestructible little blob that can move up the board.
And
right?
Nighthaunt's still going to be really strong after the battle scroll, but that's the one thing that they kind of got. That's the one bad play experience that they kind of took away, because now I'm only going to have 1 unit that can run and charge, right?
Which is a great,
I can't pin his whole army in with everything like I did that game.
Yeah, can't just push it all forward in like massive speed wall. Yeah.
Okay,
I think that's a phenomenal change by G-Dub, because the points for Nighthaunt aren't the problem. If you took them in isolation, like if you took Blade Geist in isolation from Allegiance abilities and compared it to another unit from another army, like they're fine. It's the Allegiance abilities that are so strong, and specifically the sub-faction ability. So, I mean, making a 250-point Blade Geist unit doesn't make sense, but nerfing down some of those Allegiance abilities is what makes sense. And so hitting the Death Stalkers definitely was the right thing to do by them. So I'm excited to see how they do with the change.
I mean, it makes sense if you hate them. If you're the one rules tester that's like got control of the points for that, but you just keep getting tabled by Nighthaunt.
You keep fixing it till it's fixed, right, man?
I was impressed by the battle scroll, though. I think they did the right tweaks, and they're going to do these monthly updates like they say. I think they're reacting but not overreacting, so I'm hopeful, at least. I think the stuff that was strong is still strong, but hopefully not oppressively strong.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm always very slow to catch up to these, and especially so with Sparkle Party. Like, I did not want to mix up any rules, so like I didn't even know about the General's Regiment until Matt and I were talking about it last night.
I love that change.
Last night or the night before.
Yeah, they changed the priority target so that it's not such a oppressive thing on shooting units, which is good for the game.
Hey man, my flamers got 12-inch reach. I'm fine. I'm living in that bubble. I didn't care.
Yeah,
but it was so good on like bow hunters for Sylvaneth or Skyfires for Zeech.
Oh, dude, it made
or the Sentinels or whatever.
It made my Bloodstalkers amazing.
Oh my god,
completely took away the elf problem.
Seriously,
the problem that they're elves.
Hey.
As I sit here painting an elf.
Yeah, I'm happy to. I think you're going to see a lot more people taking the +1 rend on charge deal now, more so than priority target, possibly. Just because or the defensive buff if you're bringing a big guy
for the general.
Yeah.
Those are fun, and there's the subtle player on the general one is just neat. But I was always taking the +1 rend anyway, just to try to get those chosen to rend 2 against whatever is most oppressive. considering I did not have a giant block of sentinels or sky pirates.
You know, we can't all be perfect.
Exactly.
So round 3 again was a resounding success. You pinned
Yeah,
him
just
away from objectives, and that was
yeah, Jeremy's a
good day one.
fantastic player, but just from those charging in, it was over pretty early, just because having complete control of that home objective early, it's like it's hard to come back. And when he's all pinned in, it was hard for him to score too, right? So
yeah,
and you're a port
that
army.
mission.
You just spread out, and he can't teleport around you because he can't land anywhere.
And with ethereal, it's so hard to clear. It's so hard to clear 20 Nighthaunt.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
All right. So good day one. Casual 3-0 right now. Having a good time.
Yeah.
So we're going into day 2 here, and we got our full. You're well rested.
Yep.
Moisturized, unbothered, having a great time.
Hydrated.
Had a couple beers.
Yep.
Hydrated right there. Yep.
Living your best life.
Yep. You're rolling in, feeling great, hopefully.
Yeah.
You're living the dream, and you said you've got 2 more masters. So are you on the council after this? Like, how does that work? Do they grant you on the council, not the rank of master? Are you
the way I think they're trying to do it is we have a Pacific Northwest Masters here, run by Jeremy Cooper, and I think they try.
It's got all the different areas. There's like there's a map.
Yeah, so I think that at least what they've said is they're going to invite people who perform well at that.
Good.
So yeah.
Okay. I mean, after this,
somehow I suspect you may have a shot.
Suddenly became very important at your hobby real quick.
But I do like this narrative arc though, because like you have to defeat the 3 masters to get to it does smack of an 80s fantasy movie, and I'm here for it.
That's true.
So yeah, you destroyed the lightning master.
Yeah.
What's the second master?
What's the second master?
Yeah. Yep. No, it was good. It was fun just playing such good players, and it gives you confidence if you invest in going to a national event, the time, the money, to know that you're not playing slouches here. You're getting like the best practice you can, I think, here. So
I mean, unless you get paired into me,
Yeah. Well, then you just beat the dice.
That's right.
Club that baby still.
That says the narrative player.
So who'd you run into on the 4th round?
Yeah.
So
who the hell did you beat up?
Round 4 was Michael Toons out of Portland. And he took Nagash OBR. So he had Kavalos Lance subfaction.
Okay.
He ran the OBR manifestation lore, which is interesting.
Yeah, I'm liking that burden there that messes with you.
There's one that shuts off the Nighthaunt ward, which is cool for him. Yeah,
no, this would be a really scary matchup for you, spooky man.
Yeah, and then so he was a 1-drop, so he got to decide. He had Nagash, obviously I said that. And he had 3 Mortis Guard to keep Nagash on that 4-up ward.
Fair.
And then he had 2 Death Riders, and then he had a reinforced Morghast Harbingers, the big scary unit.
Yep.
Need your Morghast.
Big nasties. The ones that have bounced around through like 3 different books at this point, right?
Yeah, they get around.
Yeah. Anyways,
I think I won the roll off on that one, so I made him deploy first, and I guess that's the disadvantage. With him being a 1-drop, I get to see where his whole army is before I drop anything. And
you don't see that often anymore. But yeah, that's the best part.
And that's one thing I love about the Drowner too, is because where I put the Drowner doesn't matter a whole lot, right? I just have the Drowner and the unit in his regiment, and since they're likely going to be teleporting somewhere anyway, like that's so flexible. So I can put them out first and then see basically 1 to 2 drops where my opponent's going to be set up before I decide where to put my other regiments.
That's for those listeners at home too. It's also a great way if you're trying to hide spellcasters to be like, cool, where am I putting my buffs? Where am I setting up to go and have my super cool combo, or to not be unbound if I'm trying to go for battle tactics? Remember that. Bring units that you can just be. Here's my first drop. You don't know my plan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. So he put all of his stuff. He didn't centerboard them, which was a little interesting. He put them all kind of on the left near
What's the
his
battle plan here? What were we?
scorched earth.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So he set them all up near his OBR terrain piece.
He brought the terrain piece
on kind of the left side of the board. And so I was
Okay.
like, all right. And he put the two Lancers. So he put the Harbingers, the Guard, and the Gash, I should say, on the left side of the board. And
That's
you
a
kind
lot.
of need the Guard near Nagash, right? Because
Yeah.
he's giving him the ward. So right
Yeah.
there, that's a almost 1,200 point investment in one area of the board. So I think that's kind of the Nagash problem a little bit. But he put the Lancers on the other side of the board. So I was thinking, all right, well, I'm going to put all my stuff away from Nagash, kill the Lancers, and then he's going to be really limited on what he has to score with.
He's one model. Can't be on every objective.
Right.
Yeah. So that was how I set up. I waited for him, put all his threats on the left. I put all my stuff on the right to take out the Lancers.
Good shit.
And
play your strong side into his weak side. Love it. Love it.
Yep. He gave me first since he was a 1-drop.
With your run and charge Nighthaunt that can just go and touch his horses and okay.
Yeah, that was interesting because I could easily have one-turned his Lancers. Now I ended up not getting to because I failed some easy charges.
Which happens.
Yeah, it happens for sure. And I actually
looked over at my dice. It's what happened there.
I think I made my biggest mistake of the weekend on my turn 1 against him too.
What'd you do?
So I went for take the flanks tactic.
Yeah.
With 2 of my Hex Wraiths because they have the 12 inches, I can easily grab them.
Sure.
And I moved them and then realized, oh shit, his Harbingers charge on 3d6, right? So I was like, so before I placed them, I was like, okay, let me rethink about this. Do I want to give up my Hex Wraiths? Probably with like what, an 80% chance, or do I want to give up the 4 points? And so I don't know. I don't know if it was the right call, but I decided to give up the 4 points. I didn't want to lose the Hex race. I saw the deployment trap he made for me there, and he deployed them beautifully because he has them where he can 3d6 charge something you try to seize the center with, where he can 3d6 charge something that tries to take the flanks, and that was beautiful thing.
Made a trap. I love to see it.
And so I decided to keep my unit alive and go down 4 early.
Okay. What's the underdog mechanic on that map? We haven't really bring that up that often.
But... Scorched Earth is a weird one. I think you can burn your objective in your deployment zone if you are down. Am I right on that?
I'm not sure, man. I honestly don't have. I have to read before every mission because I don't have those memorized. Honestly,
I'm with you.
I feel at this point we've gone through enough editions already where it's like gobbledygook, and especially since they're bringing back old ones, it's just like, was that?
It kind of all blends together, right? Like you just have to refresh because otherwise you'll just flip 2 of the old versions and the same thing in your brain. And
I brought it up for Scorched Earth. From the second battle round at the end of their turn, after scoring victory points, the active player can pick one objective that is wholly within enemy territory and remove it.
Oh, good memory, Matt.
So, but it's
every once in a while,
enemy objective. Okay,
yeah, just every once in a while, I can
objective that they control, and
nice.
Yeah, so you can bring your own just to mess with them. Or you can pick one objective in their territory that they control until the end of the battle round. They can subtract 5 from the control scores of enemy units contesting that objective. So you go down your 4 points, then it's just you're like, cool, you're -5. They don't have bodies anyway to control your stuff. You just you stuff them from scoring at the goal line here. You accidentally screwed yourself into greatness, Matt. I love failing forward.
This is a good start against the Bone Master.
Yeah.
Took him to the bone zone.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So I deployed on the right. My plan was to lift the Lancers, kind of make Nagash burn that
Mhm.
once per game, because obviously that once per game bring back a unit is
Huge.
way more painful if he does it on the Harbingers or even on the guard to keep him going on a ward. So I figured if I take out the Lancers, he's going to be in a position where it's hard for him to score. It might force him to bring back the Lancers at that point, and then I have that out of the way, so I don't have to worry about it on the Harbingers later. Unfortunately, like I said, I failed. So unlike my game 3 where I made all my charges, I think in game 4 I failed all my charges but one. so
the dice were taking away at this point.
So everything was running. Everything was running. One was on an auto 6. One was teleporting with the Drowner. Most everything was on a 5 to 6 inch charge. Failed all of it except for I think maybe the Blade Geist got in and killed 3 horses. So I had not only like given up a tactic out of stupidity early, but I had failed all my charges. So I was like, oh man, I don't know about this game. Going into his turn.
Well, when you go big, right? You know,
this
never
is such a moment of
slip.
tension.
Make sure you fall hard when you fall, you know?
But I think that was just, a little bit of cosmic justice after what I had done to Jeremy on my charges. So
it had to come around sometime.
Yeah. So on his turn, he brought all the meat and potatoes to the center board. The Harbingers were coming after me, Nagash, the guard, got them all pretty close to charge range. I think he actually did get in with the Harbingers because with that 3d6, he can charge what he wants. The Lancers that I failed to charged into me. But I think, again, what he ran into is Rend is not great against Nighthaunt. So he didn't get to clear. He didn't get to clear what he wanted to clear. And I was still in fine shape going into round 2 because of it. It almost was a little bit of a pillow fight round 2, just because I think his Harbingers killed maybe after wards two models. Like two ghosts full swing. So definitely he could have punished me a lot more from my round 1 follies than he ended up being able to do. And then starting round 3 is when the Cruciator really started protecting me from Nagash's damage. Just that D3, 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 D3 that he can do. So he started doing more of the 5-up ward buffing out of frustration from that. So he kept a 5-up ward on his Harbingers, on his guard, on his Lancers where he could. And I really tried to work the units that weren't in the because he was able to bring 1 Lancer back, right? So I was really trying to kill the units after that weren't in that spell range because I didn't want him bringing a Lancer back. But on my round 2, I was able to finally kind of really gang up on those Lancers and finish.
And he double turned you?
Yes.
Okay.
Man, so many double turns at this tournament.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like some players are really hot and heavy on the double turn and some aren't.
Yeah. Where are you falling in that?
I tend to give it away as much as possible. I hate losing points. Especially after a blown tactic, and especially with Nighthaunt, because again with ethereal, I don't feel vulnerable to just getting tabled by a double turn. I think if I'm Seraphon again, like going back to their 4-up saves, I'm going to be much more inclined with an army like that, or with Kurnoth Hunters or something like that, where I'm super vulnerable to getting lifted. I think I'm going to be more prone to take the double in that case, but with ethereal and my wards and my Cruciator and my ability to bring a unit back and all that, I don't feel as susceptible to getting just taken out of the game by a double. So I usually give it away with Nighthaunt for sure.
I love that explanation.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
The smooth, warm, comforting blanket of ethereal, almost like a ghosty sheet.
It's a little cold, but it keeps me warm.
Pillows.
Chilled to the bone, man. All right, so
So
It
yeah,
turned
round
into a
three.
slap fight. Okay.
Yeah, round two is a pillow fight, but round three I was able to finish off his lancers, do considerable. I think I got his harbingers down to like one dude.
Mhm.
Um,
Sure.
by turn
They can't stand on
four,
objectives at this point because you're still bringing 20 ghost
yeah,
units of
yeah.
stuff
So my goal against him was just score, stay away from the gash,
on the primary
stay away
attacks.
from the harbingers until I kill the lancers, then kill the harbingers, and then finally worry about
Yeah.
Nagash. And
Okay.
so it all climactically came down to him just with Nagash and the guard left, me surrounding him
Right.
so he couldn't return a unit because you have to
Shit.
return a unit within
Within what,
Only
12?
within
12, but
yep.
9
Yeah.
away. So if I have him fully
Yeah.
surrounded, he can't use the ability.
Yeah.
So I don't think I was able to bring him down in one turn, but I was able to stop him from basically doing anything.
You
By surrounding
frustrated
him.
Nagash to
Yeah,
death.
yeah, he was getting swarmed by his own people of death. But
Uh-huh.
by turn five, I narrowly took him down, and that was the end. But it
Oh
was
man,
Nice.
fun. It was a lot of fun. And
that's really cool.
Michael Toon's a great player. We've had 2 games now, and they've both been just nail biters.
It's super
Cool.
awesome, dude. Friendliest dude.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So friendly.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so you've taken down the Master of Lightning and the Master of Bone. Who's Master number 3 for
The
your round 5?
final game was Jaws of Galay.
Oh,
Am I saying that right?
Classic.
And
Very
yeah,
then
if you can say
classic.
it French. Yeah, go ahead.
It's definitely Galay in the French side of Gur.
I won't hold it against you.
I say Gallet. I feel like if you walk up to somebody and you say Gallet, like they're either gonna think you're Vegeta or they're gonna
Yep.
just be like, "What
But
did you
like
call me?"
in the land of
With a hard
Like, it
T.
sounds like
Say it with a hard T.
it sounds like
We
a
don't do
weird
that.
slur.
I
Like,
think in the land of the beast, it feels like a wild western town, right? Like someone welcomes you to Gallet and like spits into his
Howdy, y'all, going to
spittoon.
Gallant.
mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
waits for the sheriff to come around. I mean, that's also very
Got long strikes at high noon there.
this is worthy of philosophy topic.
It's true. We can go deep in this one.
Yeah, I'm right.
So round 5 was against Mr. Chris Lemoy, who is an excellent player.
Mhm.
He was running Soul Blight Grave Lords with Death Stench Drove, Morbid Conjuration. He had Mr. Manfred, a reinforced Black Knights, and a reinforced Grave Guard in one regiment. And then he had Belladama with 2 units of wolves and Torgilius in a second regiment. And then he had the Necromancer with the Lash of Sire, the Orb of Enchantment, and Dire Wolves in a third regiment. And again, this is pre-battle scroll, so he also gets his cool pre-battle scroll stuff where Torgilius can double tap a unit and bring
Stupid ass laser eyes too.
Bring 3 models back. So
laser eyes plus all the recursion. Yeah.
So yeah, those Black Knights can come back. 2 can come back. Graveguard 6 can come back. So
I want to take us on a slight stroll, not off the path, but on the
promenade,
the dirty beaten path to the side of it. You know, the person who walks off the sidewalk while everybody else is walking on the sidewalk.
I'm here for
what were they thinking about Torgilius's laser eyes 2d6 -1 rend 2 damage shots? Like, what in the shit were they thinking? Like,
listen, you got to clean up a bunch of chamber pots, being the Chamberlain there. You know, you're just like, I'm tired of this bullshit.
That is,
you get angry.
I had a practice game with a buddy of mine, and he brought Torgilius, and he spiked on his roll and deleted an entire unit of Blood Sisters, a reinforced unit.
Well, you know what,
and I'm
Matt?
Just like, what?
No, Matt. Let's not be unfair about this.
The shit.
I know what you're saying, but there's 2 good reasons for that. One, it's not just the man He's wearing a cool hat and he has a bird. That's what counts
It's
for
the
the laser
bird.
eyes.
Yeah,
And the second
dude.
part is you're playing elves. Like there's like no armor in that pasty white flesh. They immediately evaporate
No,
to the
That's
bird.
true.
those
That's
scales shed too much on the snakes. It's the whole thing.
Yeah.
You had a fresh malt. That's
what
what
it
happened.
really is there's a little tiny elf sitting
Uh-huh.
underneath the hat that he just lifts the hat up and it just
Oh,
like just full on double middle fingers, and the
uh-huh.
other elves
Uh-huh.
die out of like sheer like, oh,
Maybe just
that's
like
an
a
elf.
tiny Lumineth using like their old rule
Uh-huh.
set. They just peg it roll 1,000 times. Oh.
Like
Uh-huh.
13 little
Uh-huh.
flying foxes.
Sure. Voting
I
formation.
love that.
That war scroll absolutely floored me the
Oh
first
yeah,
time I walked into it. I was like, I'm
he's
sorry, do
so
you have
good.
better
He's so
shooting
good.
than
Yeah.
my entire unit of bloodstalkers?
Yes.
What?
Not
How
to
did he
mention
not rule
just
that city?
doubling the per turn recursion. Just as a side note.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
was just
minor
like,
but
what?
amazing ability every
Listen,
case
Matt,
before.
you're a great guest. We'll get back to you in a second. This Torgilius motherfucker.
Yeah, we gotta.
He was
Hold on.
definitely the power behind the throne,
It
Ulfenkarn. There's no doubt
really
about it.
is.
You could feel better though. He took a good nerf in the battle scroll, so
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
he took
he
a
can he
bad
can
nerf,
he can
like a
no
bad
longer
person.
tap a unit that's already been resurrected.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
So I imagine I would think he won't be the take anymore. I'm guessing. I don't know.
Did you keep the shooting profile?
He has the
no,
shooting.
he's down to 1d6
Oh,
now.
is he? Okay.
Yeah, so that was where I was like,
Okay.
haha, suck it, Torgilius. Just sit there with your stupid hat.
That was the important nerf.
Go back to
That
Curse
was it.
City.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Well, luckily the heart of the army is still intact, which is taking an oppressive amount of zombies, which has always been nearest and dearest to me. But
Yeah, and
Go
just
hang out
like
with Radikar, not the wolf or
and
the
just
beast or whatever it is. Go hang out with the lame dude with his two little sidekicks.
Mhm.
Go do it, Torgilius. Okay,
Tell
I'm
me
done.
how you
I'm
really
done
feel,
now.
Matt.
I hate him.
It wasn't coming clear. I don't know. I don't.
It's such a stupid rule set
It's
for
like
that model.
light dislike. I don't know. I don't know.
Many things can be said about Matt. First and foremost, that he is a cipher, hard to read.
This guy, I don't get
very
it.
subtle, very subtle. You know,
Dude, fuck that
I've known him for
guy.
years. He just goes right over. I'd half the time I think he's Miles. I don't know.
you kind of got to walk around on eggshells around him because you don't know what he's really thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Stoic. Stoic. Very stoic.
Stoic. Hit
Stoic.
spittoon again.
Very. Oh no! You get that on a hat next. Also, those listening at home, if you're still listening or watching this on YouTube, the twist
No,
is
they're not listening. Torgilius came in and shot them to death.
it made three nights.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dear listeners, if you made it through Torgilius' spiked roll, thank you.
We're back on the side. We are back on the
Uh-huh.
sidewalk now. We're back on the sidewalk now.
Okay.
All right, we've come to the path. We are at your final boss, the Master of Stench, Dustin's Robe, or the Master of Wolves.
Blood?
Master Blood? What kind of master was he, Matt?
He really likes working those Graveguard with Manfred. I would say that's the but he was in Death Stench Drove.
So with
Stinky blood.
Master of Stink Blood.
Yeah. Master of
I
Stinky
would have said
blood.
Italian food with Manfredo right there, but all right.
I mean, Stinky blood Manfredo.
Okay, yeah, Stinky Manfredo.
So
I just ordered that at a diner last week in Jersey.
So we're out in the
God.
Wild West, spitting in platoons in the jaws of Gallet.
And you're your final master. Your final master, Matt.
Yeah,
With
I think
the bad L deployment.
I think he made me go first. So I did seize the center, and I put I believe Harridan's in my Craven Throne Guard. As far away from him, but within 3 of the center to score. And thought that was relatively safe. I didn't go for any turn 1 damage because on that mission you're pretty far apart. So I thought I would be pretty exposed if I went for the pin-in strategy that I do on the other against the other guys, where you're starting 18 apart. Like I think he was able to be far enough from me where he felt safe giving me the turn. And it actually paid off well for him because I have my Harridans and my Craven Throne Guard. They're scoring. I just scored points. That was the end.
Yeah.
But he got great charges with his Grave Guard and Manfred, and got all that into my Harridans.
There you go.
And he got the fight twice on the Grave Guard.
Little Van Hells for you.
So they're fighting twice. That's the exact thing I don't want fighting against me, is going to be high quantity, low rend attacks, right? And when they're fighting twice, it's a very high quantity. He's got the Lashes Sire on the Necromancer, which lets him move D6 inches, I believe. So that really helped him. Really helped him get that charge. It was still, even since I deployed as far back as I could, it was still a 6 or 7 inch charge, but he managed to make that, and he really messed up my Harridans early.
I would like one clarifying statement here, just really quick, because I said that I don't like this deployment. It's a stupid deployment. Specifically, again, like you're saying, for your army, because you're not the 18 away. You're playing angles that are hard to cover for you. You're playing into, if he's got movement shenanigans. If you're out in the middle of the board too, you're just fully surrounded. It's not just one front you're fighting on.
And the main thing about this too is it's really terrain dependent. And like if you're running like a large blob, right, and you're going straight to the center, you're going to get hemmed in by those two pieces of terrain that are on each side of the center in the opposite diagonal. So like you either have to make that decision early on whether to move around it, or
he's flying through it. He's a ghost, but
but the one thing that's nice on this,
if you're going to sit there, right? If you're going to take seize the center, like that's either like a really big boon, because now you're creating a block in the middle of these pieces of terrain. Obviously, Nighthaunt aren't going to give two shits about it. They're going to charge over that into whatever is behind it. But like you can screen somebody out and divide their force if they're majorly stuck on the ground, or you can force them to just go right into the center. Does that make sense? Because you can set up a counter charge for when they hit you in the center.
I hear that.
That's essentially what I did to Nick before, and exercised my Dino Demons.
There you go.
There. Okay. Side rant.
I think the other thing I want to note about this map, though, is I really like that there's a place of power. Is that what they still call them? The magic terrain that each army will have access to. So I definitely put Reichner right there.
Good shit.
On my right corner to get on a +2. Basically, was able to get Gravetide and Purple Sun out early because of it. So
how'd Gravetide feel into this, man? Being the Horde Buster. Did you get to utilize that a lot?
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I think it was the right call of GW to make it a cast 8, because it's a great spell. Right?
Yeah, it's too good on the charge.
On the charge, 2 damage. 2's the win.
It's just like, do you want consistency? Do you want a movement blocker?
Did it keep the roll the dice for how many models in the unit? Keep that.
On the movement ability, 5 up some mortals, and then
you know what I'm talking about, you dirty metagamer.
I mean, I honestly thought, man, Purple Sun's gonna be great, but like, the more I played, I'm like, it's Gravetide and Chains that I play a lot. But interestingly enough, like Chris in that game really punished me for Chains, which
really
I hadn't had somebody do to that effect or that efficiency against me.
Free movement phase.
But so I put the Chains right on his Manfred and his Graveguard, and I think like his Necromancer, did some mortals. I had Cruciator over here, and I was like, well, these slow ass Graveguard aren't going to get to him. So I thought I was safe, but he moved 4 with his blob, with his Graveguard. He charged. He didn't need he didn't need to get within half an inch of the Necromancer. He just had to be within 3 of the Necromancer, because he could end within half of my Chains.
Yeah.
So it's almost
Yeah.
like the chains gave him a plus 3-inch charge.
Yep.
You know, and
Yep.
then once he activates, he was able to choose to pile in towards the Cruciator. And even though he only got maybe like 8 or 9 guard into the Cruciator, he's
That's
only like
enough.
he's only a 5/1 model, especially if they're fighting twice with the Necromancer. So
Yep.
that was a fantastic play and a good learn on for me to like. You got to kind of use your chains wisely. If it's not such a big deal if you're fighting if you're throwing it into a one model unit, but if you're throwing it into a blob like the Graveguard, they have a lot of play there.
Yeah.
As far as like stretching out that charge and putting it into a different target and just ending within half of the chain. So,
Well, they open up counter charge too, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can charge the chains, yeah.
So you can get some extra free movement out of them.
And then obviously it
I
gives you
was
that
using
free
them as bait.
It honestly gives that opponent that free pile in too. So you're fighting where you think you might be safe, but they can pile into you because the chains are there. So the chains are just an easy way to get 2 to 6 mortal wounds on an opponent, but they obviously have a downside if you're not careful with what your opponent can do against you.
Cool, yeah, that's always a concern with those, right? The shenanigan factor of exactly that scenario where like, oh yes, thank you for your trampoline. I'll come wherever I want now.
I mean, that's the thing though. I was using them in the tournament as bait half the time. Like, yeah, go ahead and charge them. Get just close enough where you think you can pile in and get into like one screen, and then I'll counter charge, and then I'll have strikes first and smack you. Right. So like if I fail the counter charge, I'm not going to be within range to get any like pain off or get hit back on the pile in. I'll lose like my little piddly screen. But if I do get in, you've now given me a free combat where I can wipe your unit before it even attacks. So I don't know. I like the chains. I think they're probably
they're
my
still fantastic.
favorite little dynamic like piece.
Yeah, they're still fantastic. They just my Cruciator didn't think so for that one game, but
no, it was excruciating for him.
He got to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Went back to the grave for that one.
I don't think he had a chance to bring back his recursion yet either, so it was painful.
Okay.
And then the Soul Blight's just so good with that recursion, throwing units on back objectives. And the fact that it's not even a matter, like, before you play Death Army, it's like, okay, I killed a hero, I can head that off. But now that it's just like, bring them next to a train, do it in the opponent turn, do it in your turn, doesn't matter. And you really can't overcommit like Nighthaunt kind of wants to do, where it just surrounds its opponent. And so I had to keep my Craven Throne Guard they just basically sat on that corner objective most of the game to keep him from recurring something right on objective and scoring. And I felt a little bit down after that turn 1 where he got Manfred first striking and Craven Throne Guard fighting twice and going into my Herodins. I think he really hammered that unit. They were rallying, and I was using Spectral Lure on them most of the rest of the game to try to get them back in it. But again, Nighthaunt, you can't never count them out just because with ethereal and
they just slowly come back too. Like, you leave them alone, you don't
it's true.
Like focus fire on one unit, it's gonna be back to full at some point during the game.
You don't kill that whole unit, it's just a matter of time.
And Chris is just a master screener too. I couldn't get to his Necromancer or Torgelius. I think they stayed alive possibly the whole game, even though I knew from the start, if I could take out his little heroes, it's going to be a big help. But he was just bringing Graveguard back. He kept me pre-screened, even with my ability to charge while in combat. Somehow I still wasn't able to quite get to him. So he played excellent. He kept it close the whole time. I think I kind of went for softer targets early. I took out his wolves and Belladama first, and then his Black Knights. And he kind of had Manfred in the Graveguard almost the whole game, kind of in the center causing trouble, bringing out recursion to grab objectives where he could. So it was a very narrow victory against a great player, but yeah, good. It was very good.
And you got yourself your third master, and you turned it in for a Dakota ring, right? That's how that works.
No, worse. Worse, actually, if I remember what you got.
Oh
for
yeah,
that.
the grand prize was a box of Bliss Barb Archers, which are like the most difficult models in the game to build and paint. But
trust me, Matt, as a Hedonized player in my core and soul, I know. Literally, that is like getting like that Cenobite box, right? It's like the lament configuration. Like, what am I gonna get for this?
Yeah.
that freaking chariot though, with all the little rotors in the back.
I mean, that one's
Rocco,
okay, but it does not come close. It does not come close to those archers, man. Putting 33 of those together. I think there was a good long, like 3 days of the Discord of me just yelling "fuck" into the ether.
But the pain is in different places, because like if it's the Bliss Barbs, like the assembly is truly the torture road. The painting's a bit more reasonable, but that's still pain because of all the detail. But with the spindly crazy chariots, not only is the assembly terrible, but if you don't have an airbrush trying to paint all the blades, it's truly really awful.
I think it works well though for Slaanesh because you have the pain of building them and then the pleasure of shooting things. So
that's true.
You get both of them.
Yeah. I've never regretted the output.
Especially with the change to the depravity dice. That was a great change.
Yeah.
What was that? What was that? Inform our dear
before
viewers.
you give a depravity dice away for each unit you buff on crit 2 hits and run and shoot fight. Now it's I believe it's if you have to roll the dice, and if it's a 1 or 2, you keep the 1 or 2. So essentially it makes it so if you have 2 depravity dice, it's not an auto 12 charge anymore. There's a chance you'll roll a 1 or 2 instead, and then you'll have a 7 or 8 inch charge instead of a 12. So that was the downfall of the depravity dice, giving up those 12-inch charges, and it made it not a sure thing anymore. So I think like CJ and our group's super excited about that change. I think it'll be good for them for sure.
I wonder if actually use it. Yeah.
I wonder if it allows him to play a little bit less cagey because he's not worried about the auto charge, essentially. But I don't know. He's gotten so good with that cagey play. Stop trying that.
Yeah, he went from Mr. Alpha Strike to Mr. Cagey, and he's winning a lot more. So I'm pretty happy for him.
There you go. I do want to give one shout out though to Spirit Hosts for being a pain in the ass to build. It's not 33 archers, but those little fuckers.
Yeah,
that's one of those things where you just, it's like even the blade spell as well. It's about as close as the blade spell for Daughters of Cain, where you're just okay, you're on the base now. We're done.
I just glued the blades wherever I could find to glue them. I could not figure that thing out. And then Marathi was such a pain in the butt, making her torso go right for me. I don't know. Is that just me?
Exactly why I don't want to buy that model. It's exactly why I don't want to buy that model, man.
Marathi, oh god.
See, you're trying. You guys are trying to sell me on Marathi. You should have never told me that.
Just the twist in her torso, like, oh my god! I almost threw her against the wall, but I stopped myself.
I have a weird thing against Marathi. Just like, I don't know, she's so good, but the second she just came onto the scene and just became like the auto include, I just stopped playing Daughters of Cain. Like I have an army. I have like 30 snakes.
Yeah, I did the same from
before
thing.
The time. Miles gave me the Marathi. Can't even buy it. No dollars were spent on it. Years ago for watching this kitty, for like a long weekend, he was gone. I'm like, this is great. This is for the army I play. Never assembled.
Yeah.
I think me and Matt just had that conversation. Like, I was like, Marathi's great, but like not Marathi is a lot more fun, or seems a lot more fun.
It's more dynamic, I think.
Yeah.
Like I know we're on a tangent because I still want to see what you want to do for Nighthaunt moving forward. But like,
also again,
it's
congratulations.
the idea.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
Doing everything great.
Minor thing, giant 5-0 win. Congratulations, man.
Took
Let's
out
not
3
leave that
masters.
one low. Yeah.
like
Thank you.
It's kind of funny, and I do want to underline it because as soon as I think anybody picked up the BCP app and you were the one Nighthaunt player, you immediately had a target on your back from every single player, right?
Oh God,
so like not only did you walk through it, play the games like from what it sounds like pretty damn good, and even like recognizing your mistakes on it, which is even better, right? That's a great player, knowing where you've made your mistakes so you know when not to do it next time. But like moving through, like literally, ghosting your opposition all the way to a 5-0 with an army that everybody who is in there has been prepped, has gone over and over and over. This is the army I need to beat if I want to get a 5-0, right?
Yeah.
Like just going
Appreciate
up
that
hill.
spin. Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
Let alone 3 of them. Again, the Masters tour of this, we're prepping for the big tournament that everyone was going to spam Nighthaunt at in a team tournament, and they had to know that matchup.
Yeah,
inside and out and backwards, even more than the average, GT goer.
That's the thing. When the army's the king of the hill, everybody's gonna have everybody's gonna know how to kill that one, right? It's the one thing that's in view. So like the fact that you went 5-0 with being the only one there, again, with that giant target on your back, like
for sure the most rewarding thing for me is how good the players are here locally. So that I mean that felt really good.
Yeah, it was amazing to see what they did at Masters. Hell yeah. That just makes that victory even more sweet. I get to enjoy that victory through you, Matt.
I was really excited to see it too. I mean, granted, as a local New England person up here in Boston, the Wicked Dicey guys are all great friends of mine, who were hosting the thing, and of course, heavily populated the Northeast team. So I was kind of rooting for them too, but you guys have me as well, given our connections to the Pacific Northwest. So it was a good result. It was a strong result, and I think finally put some people on the map who maybe had been overlooked just because of regionality before.
That's a good point. I think so.
Yeah, it's always tucked in the corner, right?
Yeah, and I think a lot of those guys, I mean, I know Matt's been on Worlds or the team.
But we all know the Beasley.
Yeah. So a lot of those guys, other guys that are on the PNW team now, I think are were able to make a name for themselves this weekend, and I think that's great.
And the best part is they're all the kindest people.
Yeah,
that's what I love.
That is great. Our local scene is not only competitive, but it's like great people too. So
that's what you really want, right? In our community.
Oh yeah,
that's what makes it fun.
Yeah. Because it's a game at the end of the day. You want to be able to play against the person. You don't want to walk up to an asshole and go, all right, you know what? I'd rather just fuck it. Cool, you win, dude. I'm done. No, you want to be able to go out and have fun.
Yeah.
No, that's what it is. A game is just a conversation between two people with some dice. That's all it is. Yeah, that's amazing that you got the 5-0. Now I want to talk about Daughters of Cain. So I think when it goes to that target on the back thing as well. I'm spinning these threads together with when you bring Marathi, everybody knows how to deal with her. That is on that level, and so like they're
same
like,
with Bellacore,
okay, well, I do this. I do. Yeah, with Bellacore, I've never had a problem with Bellacore. Bellacore has never phased me ever.
If you know he's coming, you're like, cool, I'll plan for this shit, and we're doing it.
Yeah, but like Marathi is that. Like the only reason, and Matt and I were talking about this, the only reason I have even considered her is because she's the only +1 to cast in the entire army.
Yeah, gives you mind razor access.
Yeah. And I was at the end of the tournament having one of the TOs just roll the dice for me to try and get mind razor because I had gotten it off 3 times casting on both my phase and my opponent's phase.
How'd you do in this tournament, Mr. Davison?
Oh, I was 2-3.
Okay.
Nice.
it was another one of these things, and I've said it repeatedly over and over and over. It's the deployment phase that I'm having the hardest part with this army. And part of that is because I've been trying to rely on wizards. And I think removing wizards from the occasion or from the equation and going from the occasion, I'd like to remove the wizards from this occasion.
The occasion and the equation in this
Anti-wizard.
Anti-wizard.
Essentially focusing on the castle up of Daughters of Cain in the first turn and possibly the second, depending on how the game is going.
Yeah. You're almost sounding like a Deepkin player there. Okay.
Well, I mean, they almost play the same if you're going all snakes.
Is it one out of the 3 DOK endless spells or prayers, or is it 2?
Yep, it's one out of the 3.
So you get the heart. Right?
You get the heart. Okay.
So you get the heart. That means
so at least you have something if you give
That's true.
Yeah. So if you're giving up the spells, you can focus on the prayer, and that's why I'm going with Cthulhu for a little bit. We're going to try her out because she has the speed to keep up with the snakes and do random little things towards the late game. Like, let's say one of the things that I'm trying to work on now is prioritizing battle tactics in the opposite fashion that I normally would. So let's say I want to take a piece of terrain, like take their land. I can take that end of game with Cthulhu really easily because I essentially have an 18-inch move if I force her run, right?
Yeah. Do you have any Canary for scoring at all?
In the current list, no. I have one of the
you got room now
that I
now that Marathi's not there though.
Well, Marathi's never going to be in there until I actually get the model and build it. But yeah, the idea there is just almost playing them like Nighthaunt. Move them up as a huge blob.
Sure.
Whatever they run into is going to die. Like we did the math yesterday, and I could get through Nagash with a Mind Razor +1 rend with just 1 unit of reinforced Blood Sisters. Like they're that nasty when they get triggered. So like there's a lot of potential there. It's just
I definitely like the spears now more than the
they're so good.
Archers losing priority target.
I'm okay with that.
I think the Lancers are definitely more the take. But are you still running any bows after that, or?
I'm actually so in this one list, and that's why I don't have any of the flyers. Is I'm actually doubling up. I want to do 2 units of 20 because everybody's still scared of them. The armies that actually really scare me are still super terrified of the Bloodstalkers. So 2 units of 10
even without priority target, they're still important to like clear a screen, right? So your spears can get in. So that's still definitely a role.
I mean, think about it this way, right? Let's say you've got 10 of them, right? 10 of them, that's 31, 3 shots each +1 for the leader, right? So that's 31 shots from 1 unit of 10. Double that up, that's 62 shots. That forces even a bloodthirster to think about their life choices. Right?
Bloodthirster.
So like the one army, and a lot of that comes down to Alex's skill as a player in general. The one army that really had an answer for everything that I could do was Khorne's movement. Right? So like Murderlust was the one thing that could get through everything. And so thinking about it this way, it's like there wasn't a single game where having 2 of those wouldn't have made everything better.
That was your tournament experience. We got a little I need more shooting.
It was no, I mean it's usually for me like I can do all the practice games in the world, right? But once I'm on the clock, essentially, it becomes a different thing. I'll chalk it up to TBI or not being able to read. I have to learn by just completely getting kicked in the head, as Matt will attest with his Seraphon.
So that's actually talking about the clock. Like I want to personally thank John and Stark for Sparkle Party. They did require top tables to use clocks day 2.
Oh, nice.
I know probably it's a
Hot topic.
controversial topic, but like for me,
Go on.
not getting my game time is what like is the only thing that really ever stresses me out in a competitive match. So like having the clock to keep my opponent and me honestly, I want to make sure that I'm giving my opponent their fair time as well. Just it takes away any stress I have, because I don't mind losing, but I get stressed if I think I'm not giving my opponent time, or if I think I'm not getting my fair share of time. So I really appreciated them adding clocks day 2.
I think they're a really good thing, honestly. Like, it doesn't matter whether you're the person with the small model counter army or the person trying to push around like 50 bajillion things. Like, it's not a good feeling if you think you're on either side of that equation. Like, you think you're the slow ski that particular time, or the opposite. You know, it's rough.
My favorite my favorite is when you know you're not the slow player, but they're the ones complaining about the time being gone. I'm like, dude, if we had a clock, this might be my turn. You're picking up 50 pink horrors.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I feel like you can't. It's hard to judge yourself when you're slow, right? Right. I mean, some people know just because they've been told so many times by people, but I feel like often, like especially, and you don't want like. And the way they did it, where it was just top tables day 2, that way you're not scaring away newer players. You're not intimidating newer players. You're just, not that the top tables are the only ones that matter, but like it's a good balance there so that newer players aren't stressed or worried about it. And then the experienced players are kept honest. So I think they did a good job doing it that way.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Tack on to this, because it's like it's a cyclical thing of every 6 months, like clocks become this in the wargaming community, it feels like. But the thing is, for newer players, if you are worried about playing it, I would highly encourage just going and either using a phone stopwatch or something, and you'll notice that when you're on the clock, you'll start making decisions quicker, and usually those are the right decisions. Because
sometimes your first instinct is the right decision.
And that's exactly one of the things we were talking about in the last episode with Alex that I think probably cost me a battle tactic was I had enough time to outthink myself. Because I wasn't timing myself, right? And clocks will really help you with that. I would highly recommend them for any new player who's like on the fence or scared. Like, use them not only to get better about making your decisions in a way that you can feel comfortable playing, and instead of worrying about the outcome, you can worry about your intent, and then use the knowledge that you've gained over playing your army or playing on a mission or something like that, and you can apply that as a gut feeling because you're so used to having that time. And the other thing is that it also helps you with dice management. Dice management on a clock is so amazing because once you know you're on a clock, you know that rolling your dice is a huge part of it, right? I used to play Dark Eldar for a long time, and I had re-rolling splinter racks. And that meant just making sure that I'd have all the dice that I knew. I know I have 20. I have, 5 Darkland shots off of 1 Raider because I'm a fucking madman. And having all those dice ready meant that I could anticipate what I'm going to roll, and I'm not slowing it down looking for dice. One of the things that I hate doing is making my opponent wait.
Yeah, I was always making stacks of 10 in my little corner when I was when my opponent was going. I was making stacks of 10. So
good shit.
And that actually also helps you move forward too, because then what you're doing is, as you're counting that out, as you're looking at your pool or pulling away, you can actually gauge the damage output that you're going to be able to do, or you can gauge the saves that you're going to be able to do in real time, right? So that also allows you to once again fall back on what you've learned in the game to make a, do I want to all out defense this? No, I've only got 7 saves on this for a unit that has a 5+ save, right? Probably not want to do it when I know that I've got 20 more dice over there for that other unit on a 4+ save, right? So it helps you visualize decisions. It visualizes and keeps you in the game in a way that it doesn't detract. I would highly recommend playing, practicing, or just like enjoying the fact that you're not going to be stuck at a game for 4 hours.
Yeah, and the nice thing,
It's
nice thing about this hobby, or at least compared to this hobby, is chess clocks aren't very pricey. They're like $20. So
a,
you want to get one
fraction of a miniature.
compared to what you pay for this freaking hobby.
Yeah.
You can get one and practice with them. So
It's it's quite a good thing, right? I mean, I think once people get over maybe the initial hump of like putting themselves in that position, it does teach you those skills, like Matt was saying, and sometimes it's very validating to like know that you did use your time well. I remember I was at a tournament and did get it required in one of the final rounds, and I had like a giant horde army I played exactly 3 games with before, or 2 games with before the tournament. So I was a little worried about it, but like it just forced good, concise action, and I was like extremely pleased that like moved through the whole game with the time at the end of it. And I think that's an experience a lot of people at tournaments or maybe haven't had before. They might know of chess clocks, but if they haven't actually been forced to use one or not, they've really been put in that position. It's just a band that they got to rip off, but it'll change the stars for them.
Yeah. And it's another little mini game that you can have with yourself. How much time can I have left? How good am I at making these decisions with a certain amount of time that I have? If you want to have that fun. I see
That's
Rocco
true.
percolating over there.
Well, no, because
he's got something.
Don't get too excited. Don't get too excited.
Oh,
so
no.
The big draw too. So we've got all this chess clock talk going on. We've got the party's been sparkled. But the battle scroll that came out in the updates, let's not leave them in suspense here too. What are you planning next for your Nighthaunt?
Indeed.
Yeah, so they're
Nighthaunt.
Their big change, as I'm sure most people know, is you can only pick one unit to run and charge now, rather than all your units, right?
And that's hero phase, right?
Movement phase, I believe.
Movement phase. Good to know.
So yeah, you pick the unit in the movement phase and declare which is going to be able to run and charge. Now, they still have crazy maneuverability. They still can't be pinned in because they can still charge while in combat. So they still have 12-inch movement hex race. They still have the teleporty horses, but the teleporty horses now can't teleport in the opponent turn, only in your turn. So that does take away that ability to teleport them to the flanks on your opponent's turn and score them on the flanks on your turn. So that's gone.
That's a good change. That's a good change.
Yeah,
definitely a good change. The Death Stalkers going to one unit is a great change. And then most of the good stuff went up 10 points. Reichner went up 10. The Harridans, the Blade Guys, and the Hex Race all went up 10. So
your army went up 100 points when you added all together?
My list went up 130. So quickly I could take out the Craven Throne Guard, that unit of 10 or 5 archers, and I would be at plus 30. My first temptation was to be super I'd probably get laughed at, but I was going to take the Excruciator and turn him into the Scriptor Mortis, I think is what he's called. He's awful. He's awful.
Like, doesn't matter.
He's so bad, but he's a 120-point hero, and he would let me keep everything else in my list. And really, what you want that non-unique hero for is to take the 2 key items, right? The recursion and the +1 attacks once per game in combat. Also, he's a 120-point guy who can charge in and give something strikes last. So,
which is huge.
I felt like I could keep my list pretty similar by dropping the guard and dropping the Cruciator down to the Mortis guard. Maybe once in a while he'll pop off and his ability will do some mortals, but honestly, he's pretty awful. He's just 120 points that can carry my items. And charge in and give me a fights last. Now
that's why he has 3 hands, by the way.
I gave it some more thought, and I started to really think or lean into doing the Manfred Regiment. And why I like that is because the Manfred Regiment can teleport one of their units 6 inches away from something. And so I would have the Drowner picking up a unit and teleporting 7 inches away. And I would have either Manfred or the Graveguard teleporting 7 inches away. And then I'd still have one unit that can run across the board and charge still. So I would be able to take Manfred, the boat, the 20 blade guys, and a running Hexwraith unit and all gang up on one flank of the board. And I think I would keep a ton of flexibility in my army that way. And because I don't have Deathstalkers to kind of give to everything anymore, before it was like, why take Manfred when everything is OP in Nighthaunt? Now it's like one unit can kind of be OP per turn now, and I can support that unit with the Manfred regiment and have a ton of flexibility, a ton of ability to score, a ton of ability to gang up on one flank. So I think
also it's Graveguard that are in that regiment.
Yeah, I mean the Graveguard when they're set up, they get a 3rd attack too. So they're on 3 attacks. If Manfred kills something in their proximity, they go to 4 attacks. Crit mortals on 6s. So you have 2 potentially good hammers that you can teleport within 6. I mean, 6 inches is crazy. I thought I was spoiled with 7 inches from the boat, right? And what else is nice is Nighthaunt being able to have a Hexwraith give something -1 save. I mean, that puts Manfred's 6 attacks on Ren 2. That puts his Beast's attacks on Ren 4, I think.
So it might as well be mortal wounds at that point. All right.
Yeah. You have to. Yeah. So I try to stay away. What were you guys saying before? Bods instead of gods. I mean, I try to stay away from big dudes like Manfred, but he adds 2 casts too, which is great. Because I think kind of what I was lacking before was just with Reichner, you were on 1 to 2. So he'll give me 2 casts.
That was with your list. That was interesting to me because normally you would see the Incarnate come out for low casting like that, but you still made it work.
Yeah, still made it work. I think honestly, I might go Primal Energy now after the Battle Scroll 2 because you have Manfred doesn't have pluses to cast, and the Gravetide went to an 8. So it's kind of a struggle there. And I like that we were talking about earlier how Hexwraiths love like a little ping damage.
Yeah.
So I like that the Flaming Skull can come out and do a little shooting, get that couple wounds off, and then the Hexwraiths are suddenly
on. The Harridans.
I'm sorry, Harridans are suddenly on.
It's 1:30 in the morning on the East Coast. You're allowed to be tired. Well, we'll let you borrow that.
That is true.
Yeah. Sorry, Harridans. So I think that plus the Jaws are great on a 7 cast, and so you never know. Last Swarm might be nice to heal up Manfred. So I think I don't know how many people are going to switch. Maybe Morbid's going to stay the take, but I'm kind of eyeing Primal Energy myself right now. We'll see how it goes.
I've liked Primal from the outset because it has like everything, right? You've got your charge stuff, you've got shooting, and then you've got healing. So like it really is like a well-rounded like lore. Manifestation lore.
And lore to cast stuff. So it's more likely with my no pluses to cast that Manfred's going to be able to make an impact with those coming out. So
cool.
Yeah. Pretty great.
So those are my 2. Those are my 2 kind of leanings so far.
This is intriguing.
Yeah, dude. Can't wait to hear how the means tests come out from the hyperbolic time chamber.
Yeah, my bruised
VC meetup.
My bruised face in the next episode. We'll let you guys know.
We'll interpret it.
You got to learn by getting punched in the face. But after 10 concussions, are you retaining anything?
See, here's the secret: is you lose all of the bad decisions, and you can't make them again. Because the neurons that held those bad decisions are now gone.
So this makes a strong sort of sense. I think we're onto something here.
Yeah.
It's 1:30 in the morning, but all right.
It is.
Everything
Rocco
makes
and
sense
I
at
are
1:30 in the morning.
we're coming to one of
I
those
mean,
like singularity points
Get me
where it
some
all is
fourth
the
meal,
same.
dude. We'll go back in time. Okay.
Fourth
Okay.
meals sound pretty good right now.
Yeah, a little quesadilla, a little Crunchwrap Supreme, a little, I don't know.
Ooh, there you go. Little
Yeah,
Taco
yeah,
Hell.
little chalupa.
Late night
Oh.
snacks, huh?
When we got to our Taco Bell talk, I think we know that we've probably come to a reasonably good place for our
very, very good place.
our listeners.
I believe the dude that took out 3 masters says his trick was getting a good night's sleep.
Yes.
Why
Yes,
are we doing this to ourselves? I don't know.
Let us follow his example. But
Uh,
Matt, I gotta say, congratulations again. I
Yeah,
wish you luck in hunting
100%,
down the
man.
remaining masters. I know
Yep.
there's a Highlander-like event at the end of that moment.
Well, and a golden ticket.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Oh,
I'll be
shit.
going to Atlanta now, so we'll see how it
Nice.
goes
Nice.
there. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
is that because it didn't happen yet this year, right? So you snuck in at the
November
end?
21st.
Oh shit, yeah.
Me and the wife are gonna spend some time in Georgia.
There you
Nice,
go, man.
nice.
Cool.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
When we get to that point, we're going to have to do a little bit of a following our friends kind of moment for the podcast, because right now we have a bunch of horses in this race. I'm pretty sure that we have you and Mason thus far from the Pacific Northwest.
Did Beasley not get a golden ticket?
You must have one, right? Does it?
I'm sure he does.
Check him on the couch cushions a bit. Get one of them out.
I know,
There's
Ricky got one from Sparkle too for best overall from his painting, so he'll be there.
Yeah.
Four of our guys right there. This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on, guys. It was
Please,
fun
thanks
talking
for-
Nighthaunt.
Yeah,
Likewise.
so-
Thanks for
Thanks
coming on,
spending the
man.
night with us.
Yeah.
On that note, we've come to a place where we have to fight
Do
for
the
the
last-
last word.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Uh-huh. Bring
Does the
it, brother.
guest get it? Is Matt gonna get it?
I don't know.
I don't
Be
know,
spooky
does
if he
it?
did.